Okay, good evening folks, and welcome back to the ZMS live stream of the Love Team Time Trial series. We're in week 3 with a 6-race head-to-head showdown. I'll go through the teams in a moment. There's 8 teams in total at the moment taking part in the competition. This will be a 6-race head-to-head, but at the end we will have results from all 8 teams. Okay, so the teams taking part tonight is the No Pins Race 3R, the Pokemotion team, the Sibwa CCS team, Team 3R True 2, a new one to me, Mysterio, and Team Viper. Those last two, Mysterio and Team Viper, I've not seen before, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they go on. Now, as you can see, you've got all 6 teams on screen, and we will be showing multi-screen as well as going to each team in turns and having a look at how they're performing individually as teams in the competition. By now you should know the format. I've been covering commentary a good few times, although I have been away just recently. We had a COVID household, so I wasn't able to take part, but I'm back now, feeling good and looking forward to getting back into the hot seat. You can see from the graphic on screen, we've just gone through the map. It's the Maldives, so it's very flat. There's one slight rise, I think, but it's nothing to speak of. It's more or less pan flat course, and so it's going to be down to how well the teams can keep the drafting going. Now, it's the top 3 riders in each team that count, but the teams that have the most riders will obviously have the best chance of taking advantage of the drafting. Teams with only the 3 members are going to struggle in this event, but we'll see how they do. As I say, Mysterio and Team Viper I've not seen before, so they're going to be new to me. I may well recognise some of the riders. We'll see as we get into the race itself, which is going to be underway in about 10 seconds. 25 kilometres, so reckon on roughly, what's that going to be, 40 minutes, 45 minutes? So here we go, and we're off. Now all these teams are racing head to head, so the times you see on screen we will be showing live. You can see the countdown happening on the bottom right hand side of the screen. So this is live distance as it counts down, and that gives you a good guide to which team is going to be in front, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, etc. But as we found in previous versions, you know, the team that goes out in front early on is not necessarily the team that's going to take the win overall. Although we do know that No Pins Race 3R are currently the strongest team. Anyway, here's my first look at Team Viper, and they've got the 3 riders necessary, but only the 3 riders. So this is going to be a tough ask from this team. I hope they do well. I hope they can be competitive. It looks like they are. 24.8. So yeah, nice to see the yellow and blue kit. We've got one rider that's not riding with the same jersey. You know my feelings on that. I think everybody should be wearing the same jerseys and riding the same bikes, looking the same, but as they're a new team, you know, we'll let them off. So this is my first look at Team Viper. Get my words out. Team Viper. Let's have a look at Mysterio. Here we go, right on cue. Well done, Damon. So this team, now then, I recognise the rows, but I don't know where they're from. It looks like a UK and a Is that the Australian flag or New Zealand? It looks like the Australian flag. So it looks like a combination of UK and North American riders in this, not North American, sorry, Australian riders in this team. I recognise some of the names, of course. We've got Paul Nichols from OTR, Mr. Day from OTR. In fact, yeah, I think it's mostly an OTR team made up with two New Zealand riders. So yeah, interesting, very, very interesting. And how well are these guys doing? Let's have a look. Yeah, currently they look like they're in the last spot at the moment, but as I say, it's early days yet. That can change once they get into a rhythm, and that's what we're going to be looking for in our commentary. 3 riders to count, but really a team of 5 riders should be riding as a team of 5 riders. It does look like they're dropping Blackmore at the moment and Daniel Day at the back, but hopefully they might be able to get back on and join the fun. The key really, and this is the team that's leading the series, and I think it's no exaggeration to say probably the most professional of the teams out there in terms of the kit and the sponsors and everything else. They generally do stay together, although we can see them struggling at the moment. There's a rider off the back, but I think you'll find this team will more or less stay together. I think yeah, these are the, although we got Zach Harner here today, so he's a very strong rider. So it could be that maybe, I mean, it's Jan Vanner struggling at the back at the moment, but Jan's strong enough, he should be able to join this group of 5 up the front. So I would have thought we're going to get 6 riders taking part. They just need to settle in, and it always takes a little while to settle in, especially when you've got the likes of Bonar on the front pushing the pace up. You can see he's in the red, so he's definitely working hard. Yeah, this is the team to beat at the moment, and they're proving to be uncatchable at this time. But having said that, we're with Team 3R True 2. I'll come back to that in a moment, but Pokemotion are pushing them close, as are Sibwa. So No Pins are not having it all their own way. Now this is my my old team, Team 3R True 2, from over on Swift, and they've now come over to RGT, and I have to say they're loving it. And I know the majority of these riders, they're good friends of mine. Graham Saunders, a relatively new recruit to the True 2 state. Well, I'm saying relatively new, it's a while now, but Graham was one of my latest last recruits before I left the platform. Jonathan Stone, very good friend. Mr. Jeffries is there. Yeah, and it's a mixture of the Race 3R team, these guys. Most of them do take part in the True 2. In fact, I think all of them take part in the True 2 group rides over on Swift, which are absolutely huge. I mean, sometimes above 500 riders on a group ride, so that gives you some indication of how well we've got the community going over there. And we're hoping for similar things over here on RGT from Team 3R, because they are an outstanding community-based team. Anyway, back to the action, and we're looking at Pokemotion. And sadly, it looks like Pokemotion have only got the 3 riders tonight. But having said that, they've got 3 very strong riders. They've got Nick Giles, they've got Jay Linden, and they've got Aluni. So 3 very strong riders, all capable of staying with each other. I mean, Nick Giles is pushing out heavy watts on the frontier. He's probably, along with along with Lyndon, probably the strongest rider of this trial. But having said that, there isn't a slouch in this team. So I think they will. I wish there were more members, because I do feel they could keep closer to no pins race free R than what they currently are. I mean, there's only 100 metres in it at the moment, maybe 200 metres. But that's going to go out, I think, as we go into the course. But you never know. They're improving week upon week. Now, this is Cibois, CCS. I've learned how to pronounce them correctly these days. And here we've got a team of 5. But I was warned prior to this, so I'm not going to make too much of it, that I wouldn't be happy with the team kit they were wearing. But this is basically because it was basically for a team thrown together at the last minute for this week 3 race. So we'll let them off. But teams really taking part in these team time trials should all look at riding the same bikes and should all look at riding the same jerseys. And the reason being is it's more professional. This series is going out on esports television, and you're talking many thousands of viewers. So if RGT is going to be promoted as a truly great platform, then the teams need to take that into account and look professional, or look a little bit more professional. But as I say, I'm told this team was hastily put together, so I'm not going to be too harsh on them. It's been a good series so far. Now, with 2 teams missing, just as we're watching all 6 teams on screen, I'll mention that we've got OTR Team Green and OTR Team Black. Now, they're both missing from this particular recording. They were racing earlier. We don't know the results. We will get the results of all 8 teams right at the very end. So we'll see where they finished in terms of the results of week 3's team time trial, but we won't see them tonight in terms of actual racing. And in fact, I think Damon told me that there was no race footage of Team Green and Team Black this week. So that's rather sad. Now, it might have been different had I been able to help out, but as I say, we've had a COVID-19 household here, and it's been all hands on deck just to get over that. I'm still not 100%, but I am well enough now to return to duties, commentating and doing a little bit of riding, trying to get back into it. Yeah, and Damon's just telling me that actually the reason why Green and Black, OTR Team Green and Team Black, were missed was because they both went early in the week, and Damon himself had half term to sort. I was ill with COVID, so we just couldn't physically handle the recordings. I mean, I normally help out if Damon and try and record if Damon can't, but I've not been in any position to do so for a good few weeks now. Actually, I've been unwell, and then we found out that we had COVID in the house, and it was a bit of a shock, but also no surprise given the way I've been feeling over the last number of weeks. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to the action. Team Viper, have they managed to pull themselves up? It does look like they're sharing the last spot at the moment with Mysterios. So the 2 new teams are obviously taking a little bit of getting into it. They'll be at a disadvantage from the other teams. Now, Team 3R True 2, they'll be getting into their stride. But Mysterio here, they do look a well-drilled unit. They look, mind you, I'm saying Mysterio. We know that most of these are OTR riders, and they know what the score is. So yes, they've got 2 New Zealand riders. I'm going to have to find out what that is all about, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see OTR bringing on board other riders from other teams to make up a team for this series, and I'll find out what the story is behind it at a later time. So Mysterio and Team Viper are currently bringing up the rear, and then we've got Team 3R True 2 stuck in the middle. Here they are. So they're currently in 4th place, and it's fair to say they're a good way behind the 3 leading teams. When I say a good way, I mean 400 metres. The 400 metres is significant in a team time trial of this distance. You know, a third of the distance gone already, and the 400 metres behind. So expect that to go out a little bit more unless they can pull something back. But and they can see what we can see. They can see the other team's times on the screen, so they'll know what they're chasing, or at least I think they can. They'll know what they're chasing, but no pins really. This is Sibwa we're looking at the moment. They're in 3rd place, but only there's only 100 meters between them and Pokemotion. And here's Pokemotion, the 3 riders in front. Now we know Pokemotion, as I've said, a very strong team. Sad to see only 3 riders. I do hope as we go through the series they can probably raise that number, because I can't help thinking Pokemotion are strong enough, if they can put out a full squad, to keep the distance to no pins down slightly. I mean, it's 300 meters at the moment, maybe 400 meters, but no pins are running the full complement of 6 riders, and here we've got Pokemotion just riding with 3, and that's a distinct disadvantage because of the drafting effect. A team of 6 can rely on drafting much more and can recover much more. I mean, Nick Jones will try and do the bulk of the work for Pokemotion, purely and simply because I think it's fair to say he's the strongest rider of the 3. But here you can see Tom Wilkinson. He's just an animal. He's a very, very strong rider. But there are no slackers, and Zach Harner, well, he rode a stage of the Tour du Monde. I think I covered earlier in the season. He came along and just rode one stage, and he absolutely blitzed it. Won it quite easily in the end. So we know his pedigree. It was the first time I'd had a really good look at him. I've seen him a few times over on Swift, but I'd never seen him on the RGT platform before, and he just looked so in his element. It was nice to see. Anyway, we're getting 10-kilometer split times. So here we're going to find out who's in front, and you can see that Pokemotion, No Pins rather, have got the lead. They've got a 28-second lead over Pokemotion, and Pokemotion are only 13 seconds in front of Sibwa, who are also running a drastically reduced team. So both Pokemotion and Sibwa are 3 members each, I think, which is a distinct disadvantage. In fact, no, I can see Sibwa have got 5 riders even. My apologies. Who else? Oh, yeah, of course, it's Team Viper with the 3 riders. My apologies, getting a bit confused here. So yeah, No Pins have got a 28-second gap over Pokemotion, and then Pokemotion over Sibwa, a 13-second gap, and then we've got what is it, a 44-second gap then to Team 3R True 2. And that's quite a big gap, to be fair. So Team 3R will be just looking to stay away from the 2 teams behind them, and I don't think they'll have any difficulty doing that. I think it's fair to say that Team Viper and Mysterio, here comes Mysterio's time, and Team Viper, they're just getting into it. They're basically having to learn how this format fits together. Now there is only 6 seconds between Mysterio and Team Viper, so that could well change around. What are we? We're 10 kilometers in of a 25-kilometer ride, so less than halfway gone at the moment. Now, because this is a circular course, we may have a halfway banner, which is a yellow banner across the road, but I'm not sure. 10 kilometers done with 15 remaining for Team Viper. So yeah, they'll be just basically trying to post a decent time, but getting used to riding as a team, and a team of 3 must be pretty hard work for the guys. And we can see the 4 riders from Mysterio here. And you can tell by the fact that there's gaps in, you know, there was what, a 2-3 bike length gap between the 2 at the front and the 2 at the back. And that's what you don't want to be doing in team time trial. You want to try and keep the gaps to maximum 1 bike length. And at best, like you can see with Graham here and his teammate behind him, you want to keep it at about half a bike length, or the rider's actually on your wheel. As we can see, Cibois have got it down to quite a good art now. They're a well-drilled unit, although they're not looking as polished here as they normally do. But yeah, they've got plenty of experience, I think, in the time trialing. Pokemotion certainly have. And as you can see, Nick Giles still on the front, so still doing the majority of the work, which is what should be happening if you have a rider, you know, if you have a rider that's that little bit or maybe even a lot stronger than the other riders, then the stronger riders should be doing the longer pulls. And you can't really call them weaker riders, but yeah, the weaker riders should be the ones that are tucking in, taking advantage of the drafting, and just doing a turn when they feel they can. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just have to sit in the draft as a team member and just be the 3rd member for your team. Now, there's no such problems with no pins. All these riders, and particularly Wilkinson, who you can see here in 4th, are capable of doing pulls on the front. So they're taking maximum advantage of what team trialing should be about, which is drafting each other, resting, recovering. Although Gringo, and he's done this a few times, Gringo must be a pretty strong rider here. I did know who he was, but I've forgotten. I did know his real name. Stuart, I think they call him, is it? Chris Smart, sorry, Chris Smart. Now, he is a very strong rider over on Swift and here on the RGT platform. So, yeah, you can understand why when Chris Smart gets on the front, you see that little bit of a gap, because he's a very, very strong rider. Not that the others are slackers, because they're not. Every rider in this team is a strong rider. Liam Bard, Zach Harner, Tom Wilkinson, and is it Brett Bonnar? Yeah, they're a very strong team, which is why they're leading the standings. And you can see already they've got a 500-meter gap, and that will probably go out to over a kilometre by the end of the race, unless Cibois and Pokemotion can reel them in a little. You can see the 10-kilometre split is still on screen, although now we're well past the 10-kilometre point. So I think the majority of the teams up the front end, Cibois here, what we got 10 kilometers left. So yeah, 15 done, 10 kilometers left. And you can see that the meters climbed was only 47, so almost no ascent on this course. Yeah, you know, you get small rises, but it doesn't make any difference really to the riders. They'll just power up these small rises and over the top. I mean, it must feel nice when they're on a bit of a downslope like they are at the moment. But no, at this level, that slope isn't really going to make any difference at all. The key thing when you're going up and down is to try and stay together as a team. Try and hold the wheels. And it's actually harder to hold a wheel on a downslope than what it is on an upslope generally, unless the upslope is pretty significant. Especially when you're only talking about, like you saw there, 1.7% slope. Well, that's absolutely nothing. That doesn't, that's not going to. Yeah, Maxime, I did say this team here, Maxime, should be wearing the same kit. So come on, get your act together, folks. But it is nice to see you out and putting in a good compliment to the racing, and racing well as well. I mean, you've got some very good riders in this team as well that I've watched in various events. Now it's although they've got Nash riding with them tonight, he must be a recent recruit, because the majority of the riders in Sibwa are actually Canadians. It's a full Canadian team. So yeah, they've recruited an outsider to ride with them this week. And that's why I love these team competitions, because same as we can see with Mysterio here, this is basically an OTR team that have co-opted 2 New Zealand riders, O'Pelly and Lytton, and they're both good riders. Don't know too much about, and obviously I've covered Lytton quite a bit, but I don't know too much about the other lad, so O'Pelly. Quick shout out to Stuart Blackmore. Yep, Stuart's a regular OTR devotee, as we know, so along with Paul Nichols. So yeah, nice to see. Now I wonder if Viper anything to do with OTR. We got James Ogilvy saying go Viper and Mysterio. So Team Viper, I don't know their background. We'll have to find out, definitely. But yeah, as it looks like O'Pelly is struggling to stay with the other riders at the moment. Now don't forget, you do need to stay together as a team in terms of at least minimum of 3 riders. It's the 3rd rider over the line the time's taken from, and it's nice to see. I'm sorry I don't know your first name, K.O. Pelly, but it's nice to see him getting back and joining in. Now Paul Nichols, he's the Paul Nichols of Magic Road's fame, so it's nice to see Paul going well. So it's nice to see an OTR presence when we're missing Team Black and Team Green. OTR Team Black and Team Green. We will get the results of their races at the end of this broadcast when we compare all 8 times, but we don't have any recordings of them. And here's Team Viper. I mean, I should know. Obviously, I know the riders. I know Stewart and Shields. McQuaid, a relatively new one to me, though I do know him. I have seen him a few times. So yeah, I'm not sure what the story is behind this team. Excuse me. But this is, I love to see these guys, because this is my old team, and the True 2 is a truly iconic team. And Graham, what are you doing, Graham? You should not be so far off the front. Yes, you're a strong rider, but you should be allowing your teammates to draft you, not jumping off the front. This is what not to do. Sorry, Graham, but this is what not to do in a team time trial. Graham's obviously stronger than the riders behind, and what they're having to do now is really put in a big effort, as you can see red numbers from the riders behind the rider in front. And you shouldn't be doing that. The rider on the front should be the one going into the red, and the riders behind should be drafting and resting. And then you come to the front, do a turn, push high watts, as we can see Orr doing here. You can see he's doing 4.6 going red. And then Jeffries comes to the front, and he should go into the red then once he gets to the front. If he's strong enough. If he's not strong enough, you drop back and you take advantage of the drafting. But you don't jump off the front as we saw Graham do. And Graham won't mind me saying this. He knows me very well. He knows I'm always outspoken and I try to help riders. And yeah, his tactics there were slightly incorrect. He needs to allow the riders behind him to draft. And same with Maxime here, you see. Maxime's giving a big push, but you can see the rider is almost on his wheel, and that's the tactic to use. Yes, you push hard, but you don't leave behind the riders in your wake. Now, you do see it with, with riders, with teams with stronger riders. I mean, Nick's on the front here again doing a big pull, but that's because I've already mentioned he's probably the stronger rider of these three. You can see he's putting out 5.6 watt kilos, and the riders behind are taking advantage, doing much less watt kilos, and then they can come to the front as we're watching Lyndon do. Now it appears to me that Nick and I forget his first name, and I should know, but Nick and Lyndon seem to be doing the majority of the pulling of these three. But just look how close they are staying to each other and how much they're taking advantage of the drafting. Now this was a team of 6 doing this. They would almost certainly be closer to no pins than what they are. There's a kilometre difference at the moment, which is not a lot, but it's a shame really. I would like to see a closer racing, but you're not going to get that if you've got a team of 6 and you've got a team of 3 strong riders. Yes, you're going to see it if you've got a team of 3 much stronger riders, but you can see here, in fact, I think we're down to 5 now. Yes, Jan van Aert has dropped off the back, the no pins rider. So we've got the front 5 here pushing the pace along now. Jan will just be cruising into the finish. He won't. In fact, he's 3 kilometres behind, so he might even have eased right back. But these riders, you can see Zach was doing 6 watt kilos there on the front, and not even going into the red. Well, he's going into the red now, 6.2. So Zach is a very strong rider. Chris Smart, he's gringo. As I say, he's a very strong rider too. So your stronger riders towards the end of a stage like this, I mean, they've got 2.8 kilometres to go. They're going to be doing the majority of the pulling. And the key is to try and stay on the wheels and stay close, not to have a stronger rider pulling and leaving you behind. And it's a fine line, and it's something that takes practice. What you have to remember, folks, is that a lot of these riders are going to be on different equipment, so they're on different trainers. The smart trainers react differently, so sometimes what you're seeing on screen isn't necessarily how the riders are feeling on their own smart trainers. But with practice, you can work out when to push, when to ease, how to get into somebody's wheel by watching your avatar on screen. And yeah, it comes with practice, but it does take practice. You can't do it right off the bat unless you're a very good rider. Well, I won't say very good rider, unless you've got experience of working with smart trainers and the software. Team Viper, you can see, staying nice and close together, which you would expect to a team of 3. So they've got the correct tactic. Sadly, they're not able to match the pace of the other teams, but this is going to be good experience from them, and I hope to see them back. in later editions. I hope now that they will complete the series, and let's see whether they can, they can come up from this 6th place at the moment. I mean, don't forget we've got OTR Green missing and OTR Black, so we don't really know where Team Viper are going to finish. My guess is that they're not going to finish last, but we shall see. We do know that Team 3R True 2, I think they picked Team 3R, was it Team 3R Green the other day? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to put those results in with these 6 and see where the teams finish. But I think you can tell from the graphics on screen now that No Pins are going to take the win tonight, but it's going to be a very close battle between Pokemotion and Ciboire. That one's going to go down to the wire, I think. Then you're going to have Team 3R True 2. They're going to come in a comfortable, I say comfortable, nothing's comfortable, but they're going to come in a comfortable 4th place. It does look like Mysterio are going to hang on to the 5th, and Team Viper are going to come in last. But I say last out of the 6. Don't forget we've got 8 teams to report on, so we'll see where they actually finish in the 8-way head-to-head. We just don't have recordings of Team OTR Team Green and OTR Team Black race because they went earlier on in the week. Damon was busy and I wasn't able to do either commentary or recording. So here we can see they've got No Pins are coming in, pushing it hard on the front. Now, as I say, you've got to realise that the first 3 are going to count. My guess is it would be Hannah Wilkinson. I don't know, they're all giving a push here, all trying to get to the finish. So we're going to get Chris Smart. He's going to be one of the 3, I imagine. I think Wilkinson would be, although Liam's giving a good push at the end here. Well done. Yeah, and 34.01. So remember that time, folks. We're going to switch now to Pokemotion, who are just in front of Ciboire. So can Pokemotion actually beat Ciboire to the line? Oh, this is there's not much in it. Probably about 100 meters or a little bit more. Yep, 100. So this is a close finish, folks, and could go either way. Let's see who gets there first. It does look like Pokemotion are going to do it. It looks like they're going to get there just before Ciboire. So this has been in fact this is one of the closest seconds and thirds we've seen in the competition so far. Very nice to see. Let's go back to Pokemotion because they're getting close to the finish. Here we go, 400 meters there, and you can see the line in front of them. So they're going to push it. Nick's going to up the pace here with his teammates. Ciboire, going for it as well. Oh, very little in it. In fact, by the time these lads have got over the line and we switch, the others are going to be very, very close behind. Less than 100 meters between the 2 teams, which is brilliant to see. I just wish we could see that with No Pins and these 2 teams, but maybe we will towards the end of the series. Well done, Pokemotion. Very well done. And here you can see how short the gap was to Ciboire. Excuse me. So there's your first, second and third. Very little between Pokemotion and Ciboire. And Team True, well, they can take the time. They're not going to do. They're gonna be pushing, and it's nice to see the 3 stronger riders from the maximum 6 have broken away. Graham Sanders, Jeffries and Orr. They're really pushing this along. Mr. Orr, you need to get into the Team 3R kit, please. Come on. Do the team justice. It's beautiful kit. And on the same bike as well, while I'm on it, while I'm on my soapbox. But very good result here for Team 3R True 2. They're improving week upon week because they are getting used to the platform, and it's nice to see my friends out here. I'm so pleased to see Graham Saunders racing in this series. Yeah, it was, Maxine, very close. That was a good race, very enjoyable to commentate on. And this is as well. I mean, this team is a team that's very close to my heart. So well done, Team 3R22. Very well done. Now we've got, well, it's not so much a battle this, because Mysterio are going to take the 5th place, so they've no real battle here to do. 600 meters, you're not going to close 600 meters in 2.2 kilometers unless, you know, one of the teams has a serious issue. They would need to, you know, they would need a couple of members to puncture. So Mysterio are going to take the 5th place. Now they are looking nice. They are starting to look a little bit more of a well-drilled unit towards the end of the race. So they're going to get experience from this, and it's going to be nice to see Mysterio and Team Viper, who are watching now, and they look very well-drilled. But you would expect, with the likes of Shields and Stewart, you would expect them to be. They've ridden a lot together in various tours, so you know they know each other's capabilities, and I'm looking forward to seeing the likes of these two latter teams, Mysterio and Team Viper, taking it to OTR Green and OTR Black as well. So we shall see. I am looking forward to seeing all 8 results and seeing where they actually finish in terms of the results of all 8 teams. Whether it stays as is. I suspect that OTR Black are going to be giving Team 3R22 a run for the money, and I expect that OTR Green are going to be somewhere around the Mysterio Team Viper times. So we'll see whether that's correct. But you have to admit, look at Mysterio here. They do look like they're getting into a nice rhythm. You would expect that, because like I said, these are OTR boys and they've pulled in a couple of the New Zealand flyers. So yeah, nice to see. They need to stay together though. Free riders, don't forget, folks. So don't go rushing off the front. Stay together, help each other. Even at this stage, even with 700 meters to go, you should be taking advantage of the drafting. You know, every second counts. So try and stay in the draft. Try and come over as a threesome, and that looks to be what they're doing. So well done, Mysterio. This is a good ride. Nice to see my colleague Paul Nichols up there at the finish. Stewart sadly has had to drop off, but these 3 are bringing it home, and they're bringing it home nicely as a nice tightly packed threesome. It's good to see. Come on, Lytton, get on the wheel. Get on the wheel. Come on. Stay together, folks. Don't leave him behind, Nichols. Yeah, he's just about... Yeah, he's just got... You see, now, if that was me, I would have allowed Lytton to get back on my wheel. All right, you're only talking a few hundred meters, but you're going to lose seconds here. Look at Nichols and the 2 in front. So if they're listening to me, this is a tactic. Get it right next time, because you've lost a few seconds there. If you'd allowed Lytton to stay with you, you'd have gained a couple of seconds. And that could be crucial, because don't forget you've got OTR Green, who you're trying to beat. So those couple of seconds could be the difference. We'll know when we see all the results after Team Viper come in. But you shouldn't, if you're a 3-man team or 3 men at the end, you shouldn't be leaving the 3rd man behind to come in on his own. You should be slowing, allowing him to get on your wheel, then pushing the face and seeing if he can hold it. You must take care of your 3rd rider, because as we saw there, you can lose seconds because we have to wait for the 3rd rider over the line. And these 3 are riding very well together, as they've done throughout the race. They started with 3, they've ended with 3, which is a huge disadvantage. But I'm just so impressed with them for riding the way they have, all staying together. There's never been a bike length between them, to be honest. They've ridden this really, really well. So well done, the three of you. This has been a good race from you, especially if it's your first time out. Well done. Okay, so we're going to see the times for these 6, but then hopefully, here we go, we get all 8. So, you can see from this graphic now, we've got all 8 on screen. And OTR Black did manage to overhaul Team 3R True 2. It's a shame they weren't going out head to head, because I do feel that those two teams are more closely matched. But Team 3R True 2, they've had a real ding-dong battle with OTR Green, as they did the last time I covered this event. So very close there, only what, 11 seconds between them, and it was very close the last time. Did OTR Green just take the win from Team 3R? I can't remember. I should be able to, but I can't. But there you can see Mysterio, they did take the 7th spot, and Team Viper, yeah, you know, the last on the board. But don't forget, there were only 3 members, and there is huge room for improvement if they can get a bigger team out, and once they get to know the system, once they learn what it's all about. So yeah, a very good race, very enjoyable to commentate on. It's nice to be back, and obviously next week we're going to have week 4 of the team time trial. I don't know, Pokemotion week 3 runner up. Yeah, Pokemotion. Obviously No Pins took the win. There we go. The week, and No Pins are currently, it's not unfair to say that the head and shoulders at the moment above the other teams, but they are the most professional, and they are a sponsored team as well, of all the teams taking part in this competition. So you would expect them to be up there at the top of the table. But, and it's a big but, we're only in week 3, and Cibois and Pokemotion are pushing them hard. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more races in this series, to more coverage from myself and Damon at ZMS. And I don't know, have we got a map of next week's event, Damon? I don't think we have, folks, so I think you're going to have to wait until we have some footage to show you. No, we don't, so you're going to have to wait until we have some footage to show you. So on that note, I'm going to sign off and say good night to you. Thanks for watching, everybody. It really has been nice to come back. Like I say, we had a COVID in the household, so that's why I've been away for such a long time. Nice to be back. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. If you have, leave a nice comment for me and Damon, and we'll see you in the next one. Everybody out there, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.